Clarence Caldwell's True Life Academy helps intelligent, ambitious people achieve and accomplish amazing things for the purpose of living the life they've always dreamed of. We will show you how to tap into the gifts that we all have been given. True Life Academy gives you the best possible chance of living a life full of wealth, health, love, and personal power. As a certified coach, mediator, speaker, and trainer, Clarence has the skills needed to guide you to the most amazing life you can imagine for yourself, focusing on your relationships, finances, health, and career. So join the Academy and be awakened to your true life, the life you dream of, the life that fulfills your purpose, yes, the life you were intended to live. True Life Academy starts now.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to True Life Academy. This is Clarence Caldwell, your host for the week, and I want to make sure that you really pay attention today because we have a very special guest with us today. Before I get to our guest, I, again, as always, want to make sure that you're doing well. So how was your week? Did you live your life the way we always talk about, being very grateful, very thankful as number one? And secondly, give. Give when you can. Have you given this week? Give of your time, your service, be of service to others. And then thirdly, you've been given a gift to choose. You have a choice, but love first, then choose. If you've lived your life that way this week, then I know you had a fantastic week, and you made a fantastic week for several other people. So keep that in mind. We'll remind you again at the end of the show. Thank you for joining us. We've got a fantastic show today. Today we have a special guest. His name is Travis Waits. Travis is, I'll call him a coach, a business coach, an executive coach. But in truth, I'm going to let him introduce himself to you in a moment. But he's an authenticity trainer, a coach, a pastor, a father, a husband. He's been around for a while to really help people not only in their life but in their business world. He helps leaders become more authentic leaders. He helps leaders become more effective. He's increased performances of organizations and businesses by working with the people who run those businesses. So I'm not sure I can say much more that would do it justice. So I'm going to introduce to you, and please help me in welcoming Travis to our show today. Travis, are you there? Say hello.
I am. Hey, thank you very much for the time today, Clarence. I really appreciate it, and really value what you're doing. You're definitely making an impact on the landscape of leadership and authenticity as well. So thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. I think it's important for a couple of reasons. One is certainly what you are doing. There's a segment of our listening audience that can really, really benefit, particularly as it comes to the workplace and their careers and business itself. But I think everyone can really benefit from the things that you're going to be talking about. And then and certainly your voice is different than my voice. So even though people hear a lot of the things that I say and I think they take it to heart, to hear someone else say either the same thing or say it differently or even say something different is very important. So I welcome your voice to our show today. So thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And absolutely, when there's synergy and like-mindedness, we might say things in a different way, but absolutely we have the ability to connect with folks in their area of need and help them with growth because of our uniqueness. But really appreciate the synergy that it sounds like we have together, Clarence.
Well, cool. I'll tell you what. Why don't we do this? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who is Travis Waits? I mean,
Sure.
I certainly know. I've seen your work, and I think many of the folks out there may have seen you as well and found you online as well. So, but for those who don't know, tell us who you are.
Yeah. Well, I am a blend of, I would say, not the classical executive or business coach, and not the what you typically think of when you think of a life coach. My classical training is actually in the therapy and counseling world. I have a graduate degree in that discipline, and for a number of years ran a very successful private practice in the therapy space, and had some joy and fulfillment doing that. But for me, I found that it was mostly not the best fit for me. What I mean by that is we can all resonate with those sweet spots with when we're interacting with clients, and we just feel like we're in our zone, you know, where it's like, okay, hey, this is what I was created to do. It feels like everything's flowing well. You feel your passion come to the surface. You can tell that you're making an impact, and there's just a good connection with clients.
Yes.
And I experienced that in that setting, but I really found just this greater calling within me to make a more profound impact. And, you know, when you say that you're a therapist, introducing yourself that way, a lot of times people's eyes somewhat glaze over, or they start talking about a friend that they have who has this challenge or whatever. And so just that label in and of itself as a title can be somewhat limiting.
Right.
So in the work that I was doing, I found I was really running my private therapy practice more like a coaching practice. What I mean by that is I was really focusing on strengths and solutions and being forward-looking, trying to implement that and team with clients collaboratively in a very pragmatic way. And as you know, the therapeutic discipline is incredibly helpful, but the majority of it is focused on the past. And the past absolutely can inform us in terms of a person's way of being and how they interact and challenges and whatnot, but it doesn't need to be prescriptive. And unfortunately, therapy in itself can be pretty pathologizing, you know, with diagnoses and those things. And not discounting that, there's an absolute need for that space and those professionals and the clients to benefit as a result of that. Absolutely. That's just not my style. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. It's interesting you say that, because when I think of therapy, that's exactly what I think of. I think of people sitting, laying on a couch with their psychiatrist or psychologist and talking about, how their mother or father treated them when they were kids, and it's all about the past, and then they carry that with them, and maybe it makes them feel good about where they are today, or they think they can explain where they are today. But it's so much more important to realize here and now, here's where I am, and here's where I want to be, and start looking toward the future instead of the past. So I love that.
Yeah. I took it as here's what happened in the past. So what does that mean? How does it impact you today? Now, what are we going to do about that? So that we're not constrained by limiting, whether it's limiting beliefs or past pain or past hardships or even past trauma, those sorts of things. When people see that they don't have to be constrained by their past, it is so thrilling to watch that freedom experientially happen for clients, regardless of what their presenting issue was when it came in. But that space that we get to actually script and coach and encourage clients that they are more valuable than either negative choices that they experienced or the choices that they brought on themselves. They don't need to be limited by those. And I think that underlying message of hope. Okay,
well, we dropped him for a second, but we're going to keep going here. The issue of Travis's work in dealing with people and the past is what he was talking about is a very important piece, because we can often just let that dictate what our future will be. And when we do that, then basically we just continue down the same path that we've always experienced, and nothing changes. So we're going to get Travis back, and
I'm
certainly
here.
Oh, great! Thanks for getting back to us. And so we were just recapping what you were just saying, though. So please continue.
Yeah, sorry about that. A little technical difficulties on my end of things. when I saw that, I experienced this, what I would call a spiritual agitation. And what I mean by that is just a general disgruntledness with the way that things were, knowing that I wasn't really in my sweet spot in terms of passion and ability, and really seeing that impact folks in a profound way beyond just their presenting needs that walked in the room. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I transitioned my practice into more of a leadership development, and you said it at the start, really an authenticity focus. Mm-hmm. So I call myself an authenticity trainer. Sometimes I'll use the term coach, but even as you've experienced, that term coach can be a little bit limiting in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what my typical client, I would say, is, we'll talk about it in sort of stages. Let's talk about the person who is they're successful in their business. Maybe they're an entrepreneur. They've been doing it for a couple years. And in any startup, obviously, it's just hustle, trying to get the business launched first couple of years. Right. And they're good at that, at driving that, going forward.
All right, he's
in their business.
Yeah. Yep.
Go ahead.
No, you faded out just for a moment there. But you're back.
Yeah. Okay. So for that professional who's really burning that candle on both sides of working on their business and working in their business, they're finding some success, they're getting traction, but often because of the amount of focus it requires to get things going and attain that level, it's sort of an occupational hazard that the need to compartmentalize.
Right. Hey, Travis, hold that just for a second, because we're going to go into a break here in a couple of seconds, and I want you to finish that thought. And we're going to jump into some other parts of your business here as well, because you've got a lot to share. So hold on, and we'll just take a break, everyone, and we'll be back in just a second.
True Life Academy with certified trainer, mediator, and life coach Clarence Caldwell.
It's time to capture the simple piece of the Amish in your own life. Amish Wisdom with Suzanne Woods Fisher. Thursday afternoons at 5, 4 Central. Each week, Suzanne will have conversations with guests about living a life that incorporates principles of the Amish without going Amish. She'll cover the practical, simplicity, slowing down, reducing clutter, putting the brakes on materialism. The historical, how have the Amish survived for 400 years? How can we hold on to what we hold dear? And the spiritual, treasuring important values, honoring the past, and increasing peace of mind. You don't have to become Amish to make personal peace a reality. Amish Wisdom will help all of us live a simpler life. For more information, go to SuzanneWoodsFisher.com. With Amish Wisdom, Suzanne offers us a glimpse into a world of peace, serenity, and total commitment to family and God. This show just might change the way you live your life. It's Amish Wisdom with Suzanne Woods Fisher. Thursday afternoons at 5, 4 Central on TogiNet.com. Girlfriended is on TogiNet. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, with your hosts Patty Wyatt and Lisa Jernigan. This show is your chance to share, learn, laugh, and connect with other women. The Girlfriended principle was born out of loss.
Lisa had recently had her mother pass away from cancer, and my mom was murdered. A man just walking into a room and started a 23-second shooting spree.
I think one of the things we both realized going through those tragedies that you can be extremely okay and be extremely sad.
Check out Girlfriended.com. And then be a part of Girlfriended, the radio show. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central.
You know, your boyfriend or your husband or whatever, they don't totally understand that emotional side to a woman like another woman does. And I think that's so important, just to have somebody that you go, she gets me.
Check out the website, Girlfriended.com. Don't miss Girlfriended with Patty Wyatt and Lisa Jernigan. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
Welcome back to True Life Academy, your source for developing the skills and motivation to create an amazing life of purpose and fulfillment. With more transformational keys for success, here is your host, Clarence Caldwell.
Hello, everyone. Good morning again, because we're waking up. And we have with us this morning Travis Waite, who has been talking to us about, we'll call it, I'm going to call it coaching, but it's more than that, so much more than that, and how he transitioned from a life of a counselor and therapist into helping leaders. And he was talking about how a business gets started and how it transitions into a thriving business, and what changes for people when that happens. So go ahead, Travis. Please continue taking us through that.
Yeah, no sweat. I appreciate that. And I'm starting with sort of my personal story, what got me in that personal agitation space, if you will, to transition. And really, it kind of epitomizes sort of what I experienced in my own growth pain of watching my business go through its startup phase to growth and then success. And what I saw and experienced is the same thing I saw going on with clients. And what that is really that compartmentalization of your life. Mm-hmm. And so, the typical professional I work with now, they've had success in their business and their leadership. And things are firing pretty well, even from a financial perspective. But there's a gap. And typically it'll show up in one of the significant areas in their life, like either in their home life, in their marriage, or in their family, where they're home, but they're not necessarily emotionally present. Or it might show up in a space where in their friendships, they are really just not connected. You ask them to list off friends, and they talk about folks that they may have seen, 3 to 5 years ago, but nothing that's close to really, in terms of like a buddy or a hobby or a band of brothers. So one of the things that I do is help bring alignment from who you are on the inside to actually all aspects of your life and what you do. And so does that piece of alignment, I believe it's not something that we can act, and it's not something that we can put on. If we are not bringing that from the inside out, literally our core of who we are, our passions, our talents, our values, our gifting, and showcasing that to the world through different vehicles, then we're going to have a significant challenge of bringing that out and bringing our best to make an impact in what we do, whether it's our business or whether it's our personal relationships.
That's a very, very good point. I'd love to hear that, because that's exactly what we talk about quite often here is being in true alignment throughout the various layers of your life. I mean, starting at the core, and it's, in my way of saying it, and people say it many different ways, and I'd love to hear your take on it. It's starting at your spiritual layer. And if you're not connected there, then your emotional, your mental, your physical, and then all of these other things that you consider your success areas, whether they be your relationships, your career, your finances, your health, those things are all attached to who you are. And if you're not being yourself, your authentic self, your true self that starts at that core, then those other things are not going to be aligned as easily and as well as they could be.
Absolutely, yeah. What I call it, and I didn't coin this term, but I really resonate with it from a good friend I have who uses the term our magnitude of mission, really to summarize that core of just what lights us up. It's not just our beliefs and our values, but it really is like our spiritual DNA, the who we are in our core of like what we were created to do, what gets us passionate, what helps us feel like we're making an impact and making a difference. That's what I would call our magnitude of mission. And when you first talk about that with leaders, especially business owners, entrepreneurs, they get excited about that concept. Like, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's why I got into what I do. And then you just ask the question, well, how's that going? And then it's like all the air comes out of the balloon, because now it's like, well, theoretically, that sounds good. That is inspiring. like they just had a good pep talk from a motivational speaker or whatnot, but translating that into their 9 to 5 of their week and their day and their relationships and their business.
Yes.
Most folks don't know how to do that. And so that's where I come in, and I've labeled that authenticity training. Because authenticity, to me, it's more than just being honest. It's more than just vulnerability, which vulnerability is just showing up and being seen for who you are. But it really is saying, okay, this is who I am on the inside is going to reflect on the outside. And what you see on the outside is going to match what's going on the inside. There's no gaps. There's no compartments. It's in complete alignment with who I am. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. It makes perfect sense. And I liked earlier you said, like-minded people. You and I have that very same view of life and of how business should run and how leaders should be. Here's a question for you related to that. Quite often, and having been in corporate America myself for many years, and working to retain and maintain my level of authenticity throughout, and I think it's really, really helped me become successful, and it's really propelled me forward. However, I was kind of an odd duck when it came to that, because most of my peers and my bosses were living a different. They had a different face. They would be compartmentalizing that you were talking about. They didn't quite get it that was the best way to be, and so it was difficult for me in many cases. Although I was happy with who I was, I found it a challenge in that environment. What would you say to someone that's in that same space?
Yeah, what you shared is probably part 2 of what got me, I guess, kind of fan the flame of my personal disgruntledness in running a business. Was really the aspect of, I'm going to use the term co-opetition. And so we know of competition and we know of collaboration, and it's kind of a combo of those two. And I didn't coin the phrase at all, but it's from a book a number of years ago. And it's a whole aspect that all tides rise all boats. Okay, that's what co-opetition is, and what that means is that if I'm truly being myself, and I'm differentiated, I'm being authentic, I'm really in touch with my magnitude and mission and what I'm called to do, then that gives me the freedom then to link arms with you, Clarence, because if you're being authentic and you're functioning in alignment with what you're created to do, we can link arms and we don't have to see each other as a threat.
Right.
I don't have to feel that you might be a threat for clients that I might potentially work with. Or you don't have to see me as a threat for clients that you could make an impact with. Because it gives us the freedom to know that, number one, there's plenty of clients out there. Number two, you and I are both not created to work with every single person on the planet.
Right.
There are certain folks that you can resonate with and work with that I could never, even on my best day, make an impact with. Not because I'm not good at what I'm doing and not skilled, and not because you have some secret sauce, but it's really that fit factor, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
That you're going to make a much better impact on certain clients and vice versa. But seeing that attitude or perspective of co-opetition in the coaching space, for sure in the therapy space, even in the leadership development space, that is something that is missing, because you said it completely spot on, that you feel like you're kind of an odd duck. Like you have this calling and it's like you want to make an impact, you want to help people. And then when you're in a room with supposedly like-minded people who are in the same space, it's like, why are we looking at each other like, where's the true collaboration? Where's that sense of synergy and partnering, not just being a team, but really, all tides rise, all boats. Co-opetition. Yeah. I can link arms with you, and actually, if we do that together, we'll be stronger, and we'll also make a more profound impact than what you could make on your own and what I can make on my own.
That's so well said, and you're absolutely right. In this industry of being a coach and a counselor or whatever it is, you would think that we would really support each other in this vein. I was at a conference a few months ago in San Jose, and it was literally 1,000 other people doing what I do, and we were all like, hurrah, hurrah. We were holding hands and we were like, yes, let's go tackle let's change the planet. And, right. And we exchanged business cards, and I had a list of at least 10, 20 people I was going to call so we could collaborate. Didn't get one phone call back, not one email back. And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I just don't get it. But that's okay, because as long as I stay true and we stay true to ourselves, we just keep moving forward, and we find each other. We find people like you and me, and we understand this issue of co-opetition, and we don't feel threatened by it. In fact, we feel enthusiastic about it because we know we can do more now. We've got help, and so
That's
so
right.
I appreciate that very much.
I think when we're able to link arms like this, what it does when we live in an environment of co-opetition, it actually frees us up to be good at what we're good at, so that we can make the impact that individually we're supposed to make, instead of wasting our time doing all these things that we might be okay at, but we're not best at.
Right.
And so that's taking away energy and fuel, if you will, that we could be using really to help the people that individually we are created to help and to empower and to help bring in alignment so that they can make an impact. So, I think it's really not just an attitudinal shift in terms of our perspective and our outlook, but it's really something that practically should show up within our week. And it's more than just, like a mastermind group or, a collaborative group together or a networking group. It's way more than those things. This really is, and it's not just co-branding or promoting.
True Life Academy with certified trainer, mediator, and life coach Clarence Caldwell returns this short break.
We often ask, is that all there is? Why is this happening to me? Why am I always broke? How am I going to survive this mess? Then join Dr. Geraldine Tegeloff for Nature Spirit Speak, 7 p.m. Tuesday evenings on TogiNet.com. Geraldine is a metaphysician, nature intuitive, and prosperity coach who shares with you how she went from totally broke to living what she would call her perfectly prosperous life. Through the combination of a wealth of metaphysical knowledge and her amazing ability as an intuitive, Geraldine brings to you the secrets of her magical journey of healing emotionally, spiritually, and financially. As with the ancient seers and master teachers, Geraldine has a unique gift of being able to connect to the simple yet profound messages brought to us by Mother Nature, and happily shares these through today's note to self on her webpage, naturespiritspeak.com. If you need help with your journey, why not connect with Geraldine during her show, Nature Spirit Speak, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Girlfriended is on TogiNet. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, with your hosts Patty Wyatt and Lisa Jernigan. This show is your chance to share, learn, laugh, and connect with other women. The Girlfriended principle was born out of loss.
Lisa had recently had her mother pass away from cancer, and my mom was murdered. A man just walking into a room and started a 23-second shooting spree.
I think one of the things we both realized going through those tragedies that you can be extremely okay and be extremely sad.
Check out girlfriended.com and then be a part of Girlfriended, the radio show. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central.
Your boyfriend or your husband or whatever, they don't totally understand that emotional side to a woman like another woman does. And I think that's so important, just to have somebody that you go, she gets me.
Check out the website, girlfriended.com. Don't miss Girlfriended with Patty Wyatt and Lisa Jernigan. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
It's time to uncover the inspired team leader within you. Overcome the challenges of hidden agendas and miscommunications that create stress and a lack of productivity. Project management expert Norm Prevost and connection expert Heather Hansen O'Neill will provide you with a consistent infusion of inspiration and team strategies. In addition, your hosts will invite knowledgeable leaders to inject different viewpoints, situations, and solutions for an all-encompassing perspective on achieving winning team performance. Spend 1 hour each Friday transforming your mindset.